My company's called GeoSpiza, and we make the universe of data accessible and available to help first responders in disaster. So I'm an emergency manager by training, and I've been working in the field since Hurricane Katrina, and I had this experience of needing really important information and not being able to get it. Either it was stuck in a spreadsheet or it was in someone's head, and I had to make life or death decisions and couldn't get what I needed, and I got frustrated and finally was like, I'm gonna do something about this. Thanks so much for your time. I super appreciate it, and I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you very much.
What we do is we integrate just a huge constellation of data, and we make it really simple and easy to access and understand. The challenge of information in disasters is one that is long and sort of storied. It's a problem that we've had since the beginning of our profession. And so one of the things that's most frustrating is that there's a push to just do it anyway, to do your best, to just go. It's a profession of people who really are trying super hard. And so there's a culture of try your best, hodgepodge it together. But that experience is super frustrating, especially when you have friends who work in the private sector and they have these amazing tools where they have really deep understanding of their business cases all the time, and they have these gorgeous visuals that show, like, you know, where every asset is. And I'm like, how is it that you have that for GE and we don't have that for New York City emergency management? Like, what is the disparity? And really being frustrated and feeling like we could bridge that gap with technology. And we've built a series of multi-hazard vulnerability models, so whether it's severe weather or a hurricane or a hazmat event, that allow us to understand who's especially vulnerable in our communities and why. And our goal is really to drive evidence-based practice. You know, I've been in the really budget-restricted environment, but we believe that every community, regardless of size, should have access to great data, and they should be able to use that data to improve outcomes. I think the struggles of startup are universal, right? There's not enough funding. You want to grow really fast. You're not really sure of the decisions you make. That's part of it. We have some unique challenges as GeoSpiza. One of them is that we sell to government, and that is not a well-regarded, well-worn path within technology startups. And so people are like, ooh, sales cycle's so long. Ooh, government, hard. But government is the single largest sort of business enterprise in the United States, and they're responsible to us, and we as citizens fund them. So we should have better technologies and better services within our government. Another challenge is I'm a female founder, and we sort of read the stats about female founders and founders of color and how few there are and how there's systematic sort of disenfranchisement of those people. I definitely have experienced that. Some pretty gross sexual harassment from funders. Not nice, not great. And then also this idea that I should defer to male technical leaders, that I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I don't know my job. I'm an expert in my field, and I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm not some kid straight out of college. I've been working hard at this, and that's frustrating. As a female founder with kids, it's a rarity. Actually, it's not a rarity. I think most female founders have kids. I think we just don't get to talk about it very often. I think there's an expectation that male founders, of course they have kids, of course they whatever, but female founders, it's not as accepted, which is really interesting. My co-founder is also my life partner. The startup business is a lonely one, and I think that if you have the right relationship and you're of that ilk, it is really powerful, because there's a lot of safety and a lot of collaboration, and there's anybody who says you don't take your startup work home is lying. And so you either have a partner who's willing to absorb it all at home, or you have a partner who is your co-founder, and then it's just like, of course, off to the races. We just talk about it all the time. This is what we do. In our case, I think I wouldn't have done this any other way. I can't imagine a co-founder that's not also my life partner. Well, it would be crazy. Denver is a great startup culture. I think the There's an idea that comes from Techstars and from the Foundry Group in Boulder, which is give first. And I think this sort of like generous Western culture permeates the startup culture. I think there's always people who are willing to help. It's very, very different than the coasts. People are generous and kind. I think that's sort of the way that Denver is anyway, sort of Western frontier of we'll help each other make it. And it definitely comes through to the startup world.